I never thought I'd be standing on a stage, being auctioned off like some collectible. Yet here I was, suited up, pretending to be someone I wasn't. Mason nudged me from behind. Relax, Adrian. Just smile. You'll thank me later. I'm smiling, I muttered, though my jaw felt tight. You look like a deer in headlights, he whispered. I feel like one, I admitted. The auctioneer's voice boomed. Next item, an exclusive experience with Adrian Hart. My heart skipped. Adrian Hart? Not exactly my stage name tonight. But nobody needed to know I was the CEO. Not tonight. The crowd murmured, and I scanned the room. Then I saw her. Lena. My chest tightened. Her eyes met mine, cold, calculating, and yet something unspoken lingered. I've loved her from a distance for years, never daring to approach. And now she was here, paddle in hand. The bidding began. 1 million! A man shouted. 2! Someone else countered. I tried to focus on my smile, nodding politely. Mason whispered, Here she comes. My stomach dropped as Lena raised her paddle. 3 million, she said softly, but everyone in the room heard. Whispers swirled around me. Why is she wasting money on him? I forced a casual nod. You've changed, I whispered to Mason. Mason grinned. Not enough to faze her. Keep calm. 4 million, Lena said again. Her voice didn't waver. I swallowed hard, keeping my expression neutral. Inside, I was shaking. I wanted to run to her, to shout, to tell her I'd been here all along, but I couldn't. I had to play the role. 5 million! Someone from the back yelled. 6! Lena countered immediately. I bit my lip. I couldn't let my emotions show. Not now. Finally, the auctioneer's gavel slammed. Sold! To Ms. Lena Carver, for $8 million! The applause felt distant. I stepped forward as Lena approached. She stopped before me, her heels clicking on the polished floor. You belong to me for 1 month, she said firmly. I smiled, a calm mask hiding the storm inside. Of course, I said. She raised an eyebrow. I hope you understand, this isn't a favor. I understand perfectly, I replied smoothly, though her tone cut sharper than any blade. She turned, glancing over her shoulder. Mason, take him to the guest suite. Mason gave me a sly wink. Welcome to your new life. Thanks, I muttered, not meeting her eyes. As we walked away, I kept my thoughts silent. She doesn't know. She doesn't know I've always been here. She's paying for a man who's loved her in secret for years. I glanced at her from the corner of my eye. Her expression was unreadable, a mix of confidence and distance. Inside, I ached. I wanted to reach out, to tell her everything, but this wasn't the time. I reminded myself, keep calm, play the role, survive. 1 month. Just 1 month. And then, maybe she'd finally see me. The car ride to her mansion was quiet, but not peaceful. Lena barely looked at me, her fingers tapping against the steering wheel. I kept my hands folded on my lap, pretending calm. Sit up straight, she said without turning. Yes, ma'am, I replied, forcing a smile. She snorted. Don't smile. It's annoying. I nodded, saying nothing more. Inside, I was spinning. She bought me $8 million. And yet she treated me like furniture. When we arrived, she walked ahead of me like I was invisible. Follow me, she ordered. Yes, ma'am, I said, keeping my voice steady. You'll stay in the guest suite. No phone. No leaving the mansion. No talking unless spoken to, she added. I raised an eyebrow. Even if someone asks me a question? Her eyes narrowed. Especially then. Do I make myself clear? Perfectly clear. She glanced back once. I hope you understand why I did this. I'm curious, I said softly. Her foot tapped against the floor. Why did you spend $8 million on me? I asked, trying to keep my voice casual. She looked away sharply. I needed someone replaceable, she said. I blinked. My chest tightened, but I nodded. I see. Do you? Her voice was sharp, almost dangerous. I think so, I whispered. The rest of the afternoon was filled with instructions. Where to stand, when to eat, when to follow. I obeyed, biting back the urge to argue. I hated feeling like this, humiliated and powerless. But there was a strange hope too. Maybe this would finally explain why she hated me for so long. Are you always this obedient? She asked suddenly. I try to be, I said. She paused. Most men would have walked out by now. I respect that, a little. I forced a grin. Thank you, I think. You think too much. She snapped, then left the room. I sank onto the edge of the bed, letting my thoughts wander. She's hiding so much pain. Something's deeply wrong with her life. Why would she buy someone she doesn't even trust? A soft knock interrupted me. Come in, I said. The door opened, revealing a tall, sharp-featured woman. Lena said I could check on you, she said. Her voice carried authority, cold and direct. Evelyn? I asked, surprised. That's me. Don't get any ideas, she warned. I wouldn't dream of it, I replied politely. She studied me like I was part of the furniture too. She doesn't open up easily. Don't try to push her. I understand, I said, watching her leave. Alone again, I stared at the room. $8 million. And I feel more trapped than ever. But maybe I'll finally see the real Lena. Maybe she'll let me understand her world. I took a deep breath and whispered to myself. 1 month. I'll survive. I'll learn. I was heading to the kitchen when shouting stopped me in my tracks. Voices, Lena's and another woman's, echoed down the hallway. I froze, pressing myself against the wall. Lena! You're destroying your own life. And mine! The other voice snapped. I recognized it immediately, Evelyn. Her tone was sharp, cutting. I haven't destroyed anything. He cheated on me. Lena screamed, her voice trembling. You expect me to believe that? Daniel would never. Evelyn paused, fuming. Never cheat. I have proof. I saw the messages. I heard the conversations. Lena yelled back, tears in her eyes. Evelyn scoffed. So you're saying he's been hiding it from me all along? Are you insane? I leaned closer to the staircase, gripping the railing. She's breaking inside, and no one listens. You don't understand. I gave him everything. Lena's voice cracked. Evelyn threw her hands up. Maybe you shouldn't have. The shouting escalated. Objects clattered against the walls. I ducked instinctively, hiding behind the stairs, heart pounding. Then silence. Evelyn stormed out, slamming the door behind her. I stepped forward slowly. Lena slumped against the wall, face buried in her hands. I cleared my throat softly. Lena! She jerked her head up, eyes wide. Do you enjoy watching my life fall apart? She spat. No, I whispered, stepping closer. But you don't have to fight alone. She laughed bitterly, shaking her head. No man ever stays. They all leave. They all betray me. I'm not like them, I said gently. Her eyes flicked to me, scanning my face, searching for deceit. You don't know me. You can't understand. I understand enough, I replied. Enough to know you don't deserve this. She sniffled, backing up slightly. Do you always say the right things? No, I admitted. I just say what I feel. Her lips trembled, and she let out a small, humorless laugh. Funny, everyone pretends, but inside they're empty. Not me, I said firmly. Her gaze softened slightly, though a shadow of distrust lingered. Why are you here anyway? I live here. Well, I stay. I'm supposed to keep things in order, I said cautiously. Order? She scoffed. You can't control anything. I can try, I replied. The tension lingered. She sank to the floor again, staring at nothing. I hesitated, wanting to touch her shoulder, but held back. She's fragile. And yet she pushes everyone away. The door opened quietly. Mrs. Hart appeared, her presence calm and composed. Shall I bring tea for Miss Lena? Yes, please, Lena whispered, barely moving. I'll leave you two alone, Mrs. Hart said to me, giving a knowing glance before closing the door. I crouched nearby, watching Lena, thoughts racing. She's hurting, but she won't trust anyone. I've loved her for years, and she doesn't even know. How do I reach her without pushing her further away? I let the silence stretch, letting her sob softly. I whispered under my breath. One day, you'll see I'm not like them. I'll stay. I was halfway through checking the guest suite when a loud crash made me jump. Glass shattered somewhere down the hall. My heart thumped. Lena? I called softly. No answer. I ran toward her room, careful not to make noise. The door was slightly open. I peeked inside and froze. She was on the floor, knees pulled up, staring at a scattered pile of photographs. Her fingers trembled over one photo in particular. I gave him everything, she whispered, voice breaking. I stepped closer, kneeling beside her. Who? Marcus, my ex. I trusted him. I loved him. And he... She trailed off, biting her lip. I'm sorry, I said quietly. She shook her head. No one understands. Everyone uses you, Adrian. Every man I've ever cared about, they take. They humiliate. They leave. I don't want to leave, I said softly. She laughed bitterly, brushing a tear away. You think saying that makes it different? You don't know me. No one stays. No one. I want to, I said firmly, trying to keep my voice steady. Her gaze softened, but only for a moment. Then she buried her face in her hands. Do you think I'm weak? Not at all, I said. I think you've been hurt too much by people who don't deserve you. She let out a shaky breath. Marcus. I gave him my life. My trust. My love. And he left me for someone else. Evelyn barely believes me. Everyone thinks I'm overreacting. I nodded slowly. You're not overreacting. You're human. Her head lifted slightly. Do you think I'm foolish? No, I whispered. I think you're strong. Stronger than you believe. She glanced at me, eyes glossy. Do you think I could ever trust again? I believe you can, I said, my hand hovering near hers but not touching. She shook her head, leaning against me before I could stop her. My chest tightened. Her head rested on my shoulder. I just want someone who doesn't leave, she murmured. I'm right here, I said softly. I'm not going anywhere. She didn't respond with words. But she sighed and pressed closer. I wanted to hug her, to tell her everything I'd kept hidden for years, but I held back. She needed space, even in this fragile moment. She started speaking again, low and hesitant. Do you know what it feels like to be used, Adrian? To give everything and have it crushed? I can't say I've felt it exactly like that, I admitted. But I can promise you, I won't hurt you. She nodded, closing her eyes, finally calm. Minutes passed. She shifted slightly, breathing slowing. She was asleep, trusting me in a way no one else had ever seen. I lifted her carefully, cradling her as if she were fragile glass. Her weight was light, but my heart felt heavy with emotion. I laid her on the bed, tucking the blanket around her. I whispered quietly, more to myself than to her. I'll protect you. Always. Even if you never know who I really am. I sat in the chair beside the bed, watching her sleep, heart racing. Every fiber of me wanted to tell her the truth, but I stayed silent. One day, maybe. But not tonight. The doorbell rang again, sharp and insistent. I opened it to find Evelyn standing there, arms crossed, sharp eyes fixed on me. You're the one she brought home? She said, voice dripping with disdain. Yes, I replied politely. I live here, as she requested. She stepped inside without waiting for an invitation. Do you have a job? A background? Anything? I'm employed, I said calmly. Why does it matter? Her eyes narrowed. Because Lena trusts you, suddenly, like you're some random man. Why? I don't know, I admitted softly. I just try to be reliable. Evelyn scoffed. Reliable? You barely know her. Most men would take advantage. I'm not like most men, I said, keeping my tone neutral. She tilted her head, studying me. You look familiar. My stomach dropped. Excuse me? I said you look familiar. Have I seen you somewhere before? I kept my face calm, but inside, panic clawed at me. She recognized me. She must have read that article, but Lena can't know. I don't think so, I replied carefully. Evelyn's smirk grew, calculating. If you hurt her, I'll ruin you. Understand? I'm not here to hurt her, I said firmly. Her gaze lingered, sharp and assessing. Then she turned and left without another word. The click of the door echoed in the quiet hall. I exhaled slowly, my heart racing. Mason's warning flashed in my mind. Be careful with Evelyn. She notices everything. Lena appeared moments later, her steps light, unaware. What did she say? She asked. Just a warning, I said. My voice was calm, neutral. I didn't mention the recognition, the article, the truth about my identity. She didn't need to know. Warning about what? She pressed, brows furrowed. That she expects me to treat you well, I said with a small smile. She frowned, unconvinced. You're hiding something. I can feel it. I'm not, I said quickly, though my chest tightened. Not from her. Not yet. Her gaze lingered on me, searching, piercing. I don't like her, she muttered, more to herself than me. I know, I said softly. I'll handle it. She shook her head and turned away, pacing slightly. I followed her with my eyes, thinking about how close I had come to being exposed. Evelyn knew who I was. Lena didn't. If she ever found out, she'd think I deceived her on purpose. I can't let that happen, I thought, heart hammering. Not now. Not after everything. I swallowed, forcing my nerves into a calm exterior. Lena, you should rest, I said gently. She paused, glancing at me with a wary expression. Maybe, but I feel uneasy. Everyone is plotting around me. They are, I said quietly. But I'm not. Her eyes softened slightly, though suspicion remained. Promise me you're not hiding anything. I promise, I said, careful to keep the truth buried. She finally nodded, though not fully convinced, and walked to her room. I let out a long breath, sliding against the wall, heart still racing. Evelyn had recognized me, and I'd survived. But the risk of Lena discovering the truth lingered like a shadow. I need to be careful, I thought. One wrong move, and everything falls apart. The storm hit without warning. Rain hammered the windows, and thunder shook the walls. The lights flickered and then went out completely. Lena screamed. Adrian! She cried, her voice shaking. I rushed to her side. I'm here. I've got you. I held her tightly as she trembled, her body rigid against mine. I hate storms, she whispered, voice trembling. They remind me of him. Marcus? I asked softly. She nodded, burying her face in my chest. I can't stand it. Shh, I said gently. It's over. You're safe now. Her hands gripped my shirt as she shook. Why are you always here when I break? She asked, voice barely audible. I swallowed, holding her closer. Because I want to be, I said softly. Her head lifted slightly. Her eyes met mine, glossy with fear and something else, something I had longed to see. Before I could react, she leaned in and kissed me. My entire body froze. Lena, I whispered, but her lips pressed harder. It was everything I'd wanted for years, the moment I dreamed of, yet I couldn't give in. I pulled back slowly. You're hurting. That's why you kiss me, I said softly. Her eyes widened in anger. Stop acting like you know me, she screamed, pushing me away. I'm not pretending, I said calmly, though my chest ached. I can't let you use this moment to hurt yourself more. She shoved me again, and I stumbled back. You don't understand anything. You can't. I do, I said quietly, keeping my voice steady. I understand enough to know you need more than just comfort. You need time to heal, and I can't let this become something it shouldn't. Her chest heaved. I don't need time. I need someone who stays. Someone who doesn't leave me when it's hard. I clenched my fists, heart tightening. I'm not leaving, I whispered. You don't know me, she yelled, tears streaming down her face. You think love fixes everything. It doesn't. I know, I said softly. But I'm here, even if you push me away. I'm not going anywhere. Her arms crossed over her chest, trembling. You don't understand. None of you ever understand. I do understand, I said firmly. I won't let you destroy yourself tonight. She glared at me, chest heaving, eyes full of fire and fear. Then leave, she screamed. I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. As you wish. I turned, walking toward the door, each step heavier than the last. The storm rattled the windows, and my chest felt like it would break. Every fiber of me ached to go back, to hold her, to tell her I've loved her for years, but I couldn't. Not like this. From the corner of my eye, I saw her slump against the wall, her head in her hands. My heart shattered, but I couldn't stay. I couldn't risk letting this moment become more than it should. I left the room silently, the sound of the storm echoing my own turmoil. My chest burned, my hands shook, and I whispered under my breath. One day you'll see I'm not like the rest. I was on the phone with Mason, going over company reports quietly in the corner of my room. Yes, Mason. Make sure the investors see the revised plan. I'll handle the press later, I said softly. Got it, Adrian Hart, CEO. Everything will be ready by tomorrow, Mason replied. I froze mid-sentence when I heard the door burst open. Lena's eyes blazed with shock and fury. You lied to me, she yelled, her voice cutting through the room. I set the phone down immediately. Lena! Don't you dare! She screamed. All this time, you're the CEO? You played me. No, it's not like that, I said quickly, stepping closer. I hid it because I didn't want you to treat me differently. I wanted you to see me for me, not my position. She shook her head violently. You betrayed me. Everything you said, everything you did, was a lie. I never lied about my feelings, I said, voice trembling slightly. Every word, every moment, it was real. I just couldn't tell you who I was. I thought it would change how you saw me. Her chest heaved. Change how I saw you? You tricked me. I trusted you. I know, I whispered. And I hate that it feels like I hurt you. I never wanted that. She turned away, biting her lip. Get out, she whispered, barely audible. Lena, please, I said, reaching for her hand. She jerked it away. Don't touch me. I can't even look at you right now. I swallowed hard. My chest felt tight, like someone had wrapped a band around it. I understand, I said softly, though it broke me to leave. She didn't respond. I took a deep breath and stepped back, forcing myself to turn away. Every step toward the door felt heavier than the last. As I opened it, I glanced at her one last time. She was slumped against the wall, arms crossed, eyes full of confusion and hurt. I wanted to tell her everything again, to make her understand that I never meant to deceive her. But she wouldn't listen, not now. Outside, the night air hit me like a wall. My chest ached. I felt like I'd lost everything in a single moment. She doesn't hate me, she hates herself for trusting me, I thought bitterly. I walked down the driveway slowly, mind spinning. Every memory of the past weeks, the laughter, the stolen moments, the small signs of trust, flashed before me. And now, It felt like they were slipping through my fingers. I clenched my fists, forcing myself to keep moving. I can't fix this tonight. Not yet. But I will, somehow. The mansion loomed behind me, silent and dark. I kept walking, heart heavy, knowing that I had stepped out of her life, at least for now, and the weight of that truth burned more than any storm or thunder ever could. I was checking my phone when a message from Mason popped up. My heart skipped. Adrian, you need to see this. Evelyn and Marcus are teaming up. They're trying to take control of Lena's inheritance. I barely thought. I'm leaving, I muttered, grabbing my keys. The drive to her mansion felt like a blur. My mind raced with every possible scenario. She couldn't lose everything again, not like last time. When I arrived, Mrs. Hart met me at the door. Mr. Hart, she said, concern etched on her face. Lena hasn't eaten for days. She barely moves. Where is she? I asked, rushing past her. Second floor, her room. I burst in. Lena sat on the edge of the bed, pale, hair messy, eyes vacant. She barely looked at me. Lena, I said softly, kneeling in front of her. Are you okay? She shook her head. No, everyone takes things from me, she whispered. Not everyone, I said firmly. There's someone who's not letting anyone hurt you. Her eyes lifted slowly, skepticism mixed with exhaustion. What do you mean? I took a deep breath. Evelyn, she's working with Marcus. They're trying to take everything from you. Her pupils widened in shock. What? So, I lost everything, again? No, I said, grabbing her shoulders gently, making her meet my gaze. Not while I'm here. She blinked at me, doubt flickering in her eyes. But, how can I trust anyone? They all betray me. I'm not like them, I said quietly. I won't let them win. I'll protect you, Lena. Her lips trembled, a faint shiver running through her. I don't know if I can believe that, she whispered. You can't, I said firmly. I've been here the whole time, quietly. Watching, waiting. Not to control you, but to make sure you're safe. Her hand hovered near mine, unsure, hesitant. You've always been here? Yes, I said softly. Even when you couldn't see me, even when everything else felt like it was falling apart. I was here. She let out a shaky breath. Why? Why would you care so much? Because I don't want to see you hurt, I said quietly, gripping her hands gently. And because I've loved you for years. Her eyes glistened, but she didn't speak. I could feel the tension, the fear, and a faint spark of hope. You're not alone anymore, I whispered. Not while I'm here. I promise. She leaned back slightly, resting her head against my chest. For the first time in days, she seemed alive. Fragile, yes, but alive. I held her tightly, letting her lean on me. The storm outside wasn't like the one before, but inside, I felt a sense of resolve. Whatever Evelyn and Marcus tried, I would be there to stop them. I wouldn't let her lose everything again, not while I was breathing. We started early the next morning, sorting through stacks of files, emails, and recordings. Lena sat at the desk, eyes tired but focused. I pulled up a folder. This one has the contracts Marcus forged, I said. She leaned closer. And the recordings? Here, I said, handing her the USB. She looked at me, voice quiet. Why are you helping me? After everything? I paused, letting her words sink in. Because I want to see you stand again, I said softly. Her eyes softened, and a faint smile appeared. You've always been here, even when I didn't see it. I never left, I said. And I never will. We worked in silence after that, moving files, organizing evidence. But slowly, she started talking again, asking questions, sharing small details. I listened, quietly correcting mistakes, guiding her. This might work, she whispered, holding a document. It will, I said firmly. We just have to be thorough. Hours passed. I watched her strength return bit by bit. Each time she spoke, each time she questioned, I felt a spark of hope. Adrian, she said finally, looking up from a stack of emails. How did you know where to find all this? Experience, I said with a small smile. And a little persistence. She laughed softly, a sound I hadn't heard in days. I can't believe you've been helping me all this time, quietly, patiently. I wanted you to do it for yourself, I said. I just guided the way. By the end of the week, we had everything. Contracts, emails, recordings, proof of manipulations, lies, and forged signatures. I checked the list one last time. We're ready, I said. She looked at me, determined. Let's do this. The board meeting was tense. Evelyn and Marcus were seated at the front, smirking confidently. Lena stood beside me, clutching the folder. I have something to show you, I said, stepping forward. Evidence that proves the manipulation, the lies, and the schemes against Lena Carver's inheritance. Gasps filled the room as documents, emails, and recordings were presented. Evelyn's smirk faltered, eyes widening. No! That's impossible! She shouted, rising to protest. It's all here, Lena said, voice strong now. Every contract, every conversation, every attempt to deceive me. You can deny it, but the evidence doesn't lie. Marcus slammed his fists on the table. This isn't over. It's over, Lena said, her voice steady. I'm taking back what's mine. I'm free. Evelyn's face turned red with fury, but she didn't have another word. Marcus stormed out, leaving the room tense and silent. Lena turned to me, eyes shining. I can breathe again, she whispered. I nodded, feeling a weight lift from both of us. You're stronger than you think, I said quietly. She smiled faintly, leaning slightly on my shoulder. Thank you for not giving up on me. I never could, I said, voice low. The boardroom emptied faster than I expected. Evelyn and Marcus were gone, leaving a heavy silence behind. Lena and I stayed, sitting on the edge of the long, polished table. I thought you were like them, she whispered, eyes fixed on her hands. I shook my head gently. No. I've never been like them. Her eyes lifted to meet mine, wide and uncertain. Then, why? Why what? I asked softly. Why were you always there? Why didn't you leave like everyone else? I took a deep breath. Because I've loved you for years. From afar. Quietly. Watching, hoping, waiting for the right time to help without hurting you. Her lips parted slightly, shock written across her face. You loved me? All this time? Yes, I said, voice low. Even when you pushed me away, even when you didn't notice me. I only wanted to see you heal, to see you safe, to see you smile without fear. She shook her head slowly. No one has ever loved me like that. Everyone wants something in return. Everything I've ever given has been used against me. I know, I said gently. And that's why I kept my distance. I didn't want to take from you. I wanted you to grow, to recover, without me complicating things. I wanted to be here for you, not for me, not for anything else, just for you. Tears welled in her eyes, and she wiped them quickly, but more kept falling. I'm sorry, she whispered. For pushing you away, for not trusting you, for everything. I reached out, holding her hand softly. You don't need to apologize. You had every reason to protect yourself. I understand more than you know. Her fingers trembled in mine. And all this time, you never said a word? I didn't want my words to pressure you, I said. I wanted my actions to speak first. I wanted you to see that I was steady, that I wouldn't leave, even if you didn't notice me at first. She leaned slightly toward me, hesitating. I kept my hands gently around hers, heart pounding. Adrian, she whispered, voice shaky. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything, I said softly. Just trust me, trust that I'm here, and I won't leave. Slowly, she leaned her head on my shoulder, this time willingly, peacefully. I could feel her trembling lessen, her body relaxing. My chest tightened with emotion. "Don't leave again," she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. "I won't," I said firmly, tightening my hold just slightly. "I promise. Not ever." We stayed like that for a long moment, just breathing in the silence, letting the tension of the past weeks melt away. For the first time, I felt like she truly saw me, not as some random man, not as a CEO, but as me, the man who loved her, quietly and completely. Her small sigh against my shoulder was the only sound. It was fragile, but it was hope. And for the first time, I felt that maybe, finally, everything would be okay. The morning air was crisp as we stepped into the garden, the sun just beginning to rise, painting the sky with soft shades of orange and pink. Lena's hand brushed against mine, and I held it gently, afraid to let go. "I still can't believe everything," she said quietly, eyes tracing the flowers, her voice carrying a mix of awe and relief. "Believe what?" I asked softly, matching her pace. "That I spent $8 million on you," she whispered. Her voice faltered. "I thought I was buying control, a way to feel powerful again after everything." "You weren't buying me," I said firmly. "You were trying to take back a sense of safety, of agency. And I get that. I've spent years watching, knowing you deserve to feel in control of your life." Her eyes flicked up to mine. "But you could have walked away. You didn't. Why?" I squeezed her hand gently. "Because I wanted to protect you. Not because of money, not because of obligation. I stayed because I care about you. More than I can explain in words." She looked down, voice trembling. "I didn't want to need someone again. I was scared of trusting, scared of being hurt. And yet, somehow you stayed. I never wanted to leave," I said softly. "Even when it seemed impossible. Even when the walls you built around yourself were high. I stayed because I saw who you are, and I wanted to be there when you finally let someone in." She paused, her gaze drifting toward the fountain. "I thought loving someone meant giving them a piece of yourself and getting it back shattered. It can," I admitted. "But it can also mean finding someone who doesn't break what you give, someone who cherishes it, protects it. That's why I never walked away, even when things got hard." Her lips trembled, and she let out a shaky laugh. "You really are impossible," she said softly, a smile tugging at the corner of her mouth. "I'm stubborn," I said, leaning slightly closer. "But only when it matters." She looked at me, truly looked, and her eyes softened, glistening in the morning light. I didn't buy you," she said quietly, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "I found you." My chest warmed, a rush of relief and joy flooding through me. "You found me," I repeated, voice low and full. "Not bought, not persuaded, not tricked. Just found." She let out a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. "I've carried so much fear, anger, pain. And I thought money could fix it, that I could control everything. But it didn't. You stayed when nothing else could." I pulled her hand closer. "That's the difference. I didn't stay for control. I stayed because you mattered to me. Because I believe in you, and because I see you, truly see you." Tears welled in her eyes, but they weren't the fearful, exhausted tears from before. These were softer, lighter. She leaned slightly against me, and I wrapped an arm around her shoulder. I don't know what to say," she whispered. "Then don't say anything," I said softly, pressing my cheek to her hair. "Just be here. That's enough." We walked slowly through the garden, the sun rising higher, warming the air around us. The flowers seemed brighter, the birds more melodic. For the first time, everything felt possible. "What now?" she asked quietly, her voice almost a whisper, yet full of hope. I smiled, brushing my thumb across her hand. "Now, we write a better story. Together." She glanced at me, a faint laugh escaping. "You really know how to say the right thing." "I just speak from the heart," I said, voice low and steady. "And the heart has been waiting a long time to say this to you." She stopped walking for a moment, turning to face me fully. Her eyes searched mine, asking a question I had longed to answer for years. I promise, no more hiding, no more pretending, I said, my voice firm. Everything I am, everything I've felt. It's yours to see now. You don't have to guess anymore. She reached up, touching my face gently. I never want to guess again, she whispered. I just want us. Us. I echoed, feeling the words settle perfectly between us, like it had been waiting all this time. The sun rose fully, bathing the garden in golden light. Birds chirped, the fountain gurgled softly, and for the first time, the world felt like it belonged to us, not just a mansion, not just the inheritance, but the life we would build together. I pulled her close, wrapping both arms around her, and she rested her head on my chest. I'm here, I whispered. Always. Her hand found mine, fingers intertwining. I'm here too, she murmured. And in that quiet morning, with nothing left to hide and nothing left to fear, I finally allowed myself to feel complete. Not because of the money, not because of fate, but because we had found each other. The world stretched out before us, warm and full of promise, and I knew this was just the beginning.